What's up YouTube, Capital G here. So it looks like the Clash of Rebellion checklist has been officially revealed / leaked for the TCG. And for those of you who don't know, once again, I'll explain it as I did for the Cross Souls equivalent of this video. Name checklist is simply a way of Konami to show what exactly all is going to be in a TCG set. I think that they mainly do it for like distributors and sellers of the Yu-Gi-Oh TCG, like, you know, websites like Ideal 808 and hobby shops and whatnot, who buy the product and sell it, and, you know, just to kind of inform them what's going to be in the set. But obviously the players, we can use it as well. The main thing that players mainly want to see when they go to this checklist are, well, the cards in the 80s and the 90s, as the 80s always represent the TCG exclusives. You can see Cosmo, Farm Girl, Good Witch, Slip Rider, Cosmo Town, etc., etc. And then you have the OCG imports cards like Absorb Fusion. The main reason that these are important, and I'm glad that they always include this, is because we already know about the rest of the set. Like, you can just look at Wiki and look at the Japanese OCG set, and you can figure out all of these cards. You won't really know what their rarities are going to be, but you can figure out all those cards, all their effects, because they've been translated. With the 80s and the 90s, those are the cards that definitely decide whether somebody is going to go to a sneak peek, which I believe Ideal 808 says that the set's coming out on the 7th, so I believe that the sneak peek is going to be either this weekend or the next weekend. I could be mistaken about that, but generally common sense says that it's going to be one of the next 2 weekends. So the 80s and the 90s cards, the OCG exclusives, or excuse me, the OCG imports, TCG exclusives, those are the cards that people really get excited about, because sometimes we get brand new archetypes as the Cosmos and the Kaiju, and then a lot of times we get cards from the OCG that, I mean, who the hell knows when they're ever going to come out. So these can be like really big pieces to an archetype that Konami decides, hey, we're just going to make it in the OCG for now. And it kind of pisses people off, but eventually we get them to the TCG, and these are going to be things that can potentially help a deck thrive and, you know, succeed. So I want to look at this checklist, which, well, I've actually looked at it already, but there are some things that I want to talk about. For starters, I did make a video about 3 weeks ago saying that it was Konami put out something. It wasn't quite a checklist, but it did show that there weren't going to be any exceeds as far as the OCG imports go. And I kind of reported that Force Tricks was not going to be in this set. Lo and behold, that Force Tricks is not in this set, and that's simply because there was no black box for Exceed under OCG imports. So that meant that there couldn't be any Exceeds there. Force Tricks obviously being an Exceed meant that it couldn't be in the set, and it isn't. So I don't really know what Konami's, like, I'll repeat as I said in that video. I don't quite understand at this point what their game plan is for getting Force Tricks out. Like, I mean, obviously they could have done some dumb shit like make it a YCS prize card. Oops, they did that for Minerva. But they're getting more, like, Ruri Raptors are, like, they're getting more support in Dimension of Chaos, but it seems like that's kind of like the last boat. I mean, this seemed like a perfect set to release Force Tricks in, because you've got Singing Lanius, you've got Fuzzy Lanius, you've got, I believe, Rank Up Revolution Forces in this set too. So, like, you've got enough Raid Raptor cards where you can build the deck fully, because let's get one thing straight. Ain't nobody building that deck without Singing Lanius. Like, I mean, excuse me, without Force Tricks. Like, nobody's going to play the deck competitively, because that card is, it's the centerpiece of the deck. Like, it is the Exceed that you will go into most often, and probably the first Exceed that you're going into, assuming that there isn't like a dire situation that you need to get yourself out of. I mean, in Dimension of Chaos, yes, they're getting Dp-Ygo and they're getting a new Revolution or another rank up card, but that's kind of like the end of the bridge, right? Like, they're running out of room to give us Force Tricks before players lose interest in this archetype. So I think that they missed the ship. Like, I think they easily could have put Force Tricks in this set, and they could have saw that maybe Raid Raptors would have seen some competitive play, because it's just not going to happen without that card. Going to the TCG archetypes, obviously we know about the Cosmos. There are only 5 cards right now, but it's fine, because if you've seen some of the preliminary builds of this deck, like, really all players had to do was just add like a lot of good support cards, mainly psychic cards like Emergency Teleport, Psychic Serene Witch. The deck is really, really good just based off of these 5 cards. We all remember Burning Abyss. It kind of launched with just 5 cards. I believe it was Graf, Seer, Skarm, Traveler, and Dante. So it was only 5 cards, and yet that was a tier 1 deck, because people added a whole bunch of traps and Supply Squad and Mathematicians, and they were like, holy shit, this works. So I think the same is going to happen with Cosmos, because the deck is it can be crazy aggressive. Just like if you attack once with a Farm Girl and you get the effect off, sometimes if you have like 2 other cards, you can OTK your opponent, and one of those cards like Forerunner, you can search So that's not even a card you actually have to have in your hand. Not to mention, I think, well, no, I don't know if you can use the I don't think you can use the shuffle hand effect in the battle phase, but that's beyond the point. Usually you can OTK with 3 cards in this deck. You just need Farm Girl to get an attack through. The deck is going to be, in my opinion, really good, and if it gets more support in Dimension of Chaos, which if Dimension of Chaos is, you know, supposed to be chaosy and revolve around banishing things, that it kind of would make sense for the Cosmos to get more support in there. I think it's like bona fide going to be tier 1. With the Kaijus, I can make a video about this and kind of like delve deep into them. I find it, I'm not crazy about the idea of them releasing another TCG exclusive archetype in this set, because I feel like you're kind of clogging this set. Like finish the TCG archetypes that you have out now. You know, I'll discuss Ultra Athletes in a second, but like, dude, you have something that's already good. Like, focus on the Cosmos. Like, don't start something else in the Kaiju before you even finish the Cosmos, because then you might end up with 2 half-baked products. Even though I have no doubt that the Cosmos are going to be good, but with the Kaijus coming out, like, they may be second fiddle and might end up getting the shaft. So I think that you could have used these cards for like other TCG exclusive archetypes. Like, why couldn't these be Noble Knight cards? I know Noble Knights are supposed to officially come to a close, but, you know, just in general, before you start something else up, like, you know, kind of fix the other TCG archetypes that you have. And that leads us to Noble Knights. And a lot of people are really upset. And at first, I didn't know how I was gonna, like, I didn't really know how I felt about this, but now I kind of, like, I'm joining the people. I think I'm upset too, that it appears that Ultra Athletes are, like, done. I mean, I don't know if it's official in stone that Ultra Athletes are done, but I guess their run of consecutive support at least has been snapped, because there are no Ultra Athlete cards in this set. And furthermore, there aren't apparently any Ultra Athlete support cards that were specifically made for them, like the UA signing deal or something like that, even if it isn't like an Ultra Athlete monster or whatever. So I don't, like, it's silly to me that they would stop supporting Ultra Athletes to release a brand new archetype, especially when considering Ultra Athletes still had so much more room to grow. I mean, I know that they have restrictions on when you summon a monster from signing deal. I think it can't be used for like a synchro or an exceed, but they still never got an extra deck monster. They didn't randomly get any pendulums, which, you know, like, kind of makes sense, but don't get me wrong, sometimes Konami throws in a random pendulum monster in a deck and it actually works. Like, look at the Bujins. I thought that card was terrible, and actually it's not terrible. But I feel like they, you know, they only got like they didn't really get that many trap cards. There was a lot more that they could have done with Ultra Athletes. And what may be looking even more bleaker is the fact that now, apparently, this was posted today by this was actually posted today on YG Organization. It looks like Konami's going to start importing the Ultra Athletes to the OCG. This is obviously Mighty Slugger and OCG Prince. I don't know if that's Japanese or Korean. I'll assume that that's Japanese. It looks like kanji to me. So if Ultra Athletes are now going to be if they're now starting to move to the OCG, that could really mean like, all right, we're kind of done with the TCG Ultra Athletes. They've run their course. But it's just, I know that all TCG archetypes aren't created equal. You know, sometimes you get these god tier ones like Burning Abyss and X-Sabers, ones that can like dominate the game and be like tier 1 for an entire year. And then sometimes you get like Noble Knights, where it's like, oh, cool, this was a cool concept, medieval knights, and they're all based around, like, you build an entire archetype based around equip cards, and it's like, oh, that's really cool. And then it's like, wait a minute, but it's not going to be good, because didn't they try that in Dark Crisis with the Guardian monsters? And didn't they were fucking totally awful. A lot of people probably weren't playing back then, but I remember those Guardian cards. They were terrible. So some cards, some archetypes in the TCG are going to be good, some are going to be bad, but Ultra Athletes are kind of in this, they're in this no man's space. They're kind of like in purgatory, where they could have been really, really good, because I've played that deck, and if you get a setup of like Perfect Ace and Battle Blocker, that shit is hard to get by. What Ultra Athletes, in my opinion, they needed a card like Infestation Pandemic. If they would have gotten that, oh my god, like, that deck would have been so good, because if you have Battle Blocker plus Perfect Ace, your opponent Regekis or Darkhold, like, you have to negate it. Or if you summon midfielder because you're like trying to push for damage, and your opponent Torrentials or Mirror Forces, like, you have to negate it. Or no, wait, wait, you can't negate on your turn. But if your opponent uses their own torrential, you have to negate that, which means that you're kind of opened up for Perfect Ace to kind of like get wrecked by a big effect monster or something like that. So what I think will trap Perfect Ace so much in his one negate. If Perfect Ace was not once per turn, I wouldn't say anything. I'd just be like, okay, that's fine, because you can just negate. But he's only once per turn. So I think that they should have gotten like, they should have just gave the deck Infestation Pandemic and just made it for Ultra Athletes. Like, that would have been really, really good. But I don't know. Hopefully, Ultra Athletes get more support in the future because, I don't know, man. The Kaijus look okay, but I don't really think that this is something that they should have essentially killed off Ultra Athletes for. These could have been 2 more Ultra Athlete cards. Actually, Kaiju have more. They've got this card too. So they could have had 3 or 4 cards. They could have made the deck a little better, called it a day, maybe try to get it to the level of it can top like a YCS or something like that. And then everybody pretty much would have been happy. So let me know what you guys think. What do you think of the TCG exclusives and the OCG imports in this set? I think that the OCG imports are a little weak. Obviously still looking for some of those more powerful cards like Cyber Dragon Infinity. I'm just kidding. Don't bring that shit to the TCG. But I think the TCG exclusives are amazing just because of the Cosmos. Like, these 5 cards, in my opinion, carry the TCG exclusives. Like, it didn't matter if the rest of them were terrible. Just having the Cosmos makes them automatically A+. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching as always.